In step 2, once you've got your test selected, you're going to pick one of your classes to focus on. And once we do that, we're going to put the students into 3 different categories: low, medium, and high. And we call those student buckets. So basically you're going to dump some students in one bucket, some students in another, and this will help determine your final class objective. When putting these students into buckets, here's a general description. The low group is students who have yet to master the prerequisite or foundational skills needed for your course. So those are students who typically come into your class and day one are not ready to succeed. Students in the medium bucket are students who overall come in prepared adequately for the demands of your course. And then students in the high bucket are students who come in with a solid foundation and a mastery of all the prerequisite knowledge, and they are well prepared for your course. Now, we don't just indiscriminately place kids into these buckets, and we don't base it just on observations. You don't say, well, I think this kid goes here and I think this kid goes there. We're basing this off of concrete data. So to do that, you're going to get several different data points to accurately place these students into their buckets. This is your evidence for why this student is in that bucket. You can get these data points from a pre-test that you give at the beginning of the year. You can use an exact path diagnostic, the one particular that we gave in August. You can use an orange pivot assessment if that is used in your content area. You can use any of your classroom chapter or unit tests, whether it's the first one of the year or the most recent one that you've given. You can use last year's iLearn scores or their previous iStep scores if that pertains to your content area. And you can also use their grade from last spring. If they were, again, if they're a 7th grader, you can look at their 6th grade spring semester grade and use that to place them. You can also use COGAT scores. This is just a starting list. This is not, it's not restricted to these data points. But from these, the goal is for you to collect at least 5 data points. The more information we have, the more accurate these groups are. And if you have 5, it's an odd number. That way, if a student is kind of on the edge, you can err on the side where more of their data points lie. Again, the more data we have, the more accurate these placements are. So here we have several resources and sample bucket charts. I would also recommend that you talk to some of your teammates or colleagues in your department. A lot of our veterans do a fantastic job using Google Sheets, color coding data points, making it very easy and user-friendly. But there's a lot of different ways you can put students into these buckets, but it's important that we do that. Again, going back to the examples of data that you can use, the key here is use data that you already have collected or will collect before fall break. We don't necessarily need people to create assessments or assignments just for the data bucket. The purpose here is use data that you're already collecting or that you already have collected. Moving on to step 3, this is setting student learning objectives. I'm going to turn it back over